Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. AMC Stock, well, was having a better start to the day. Looks like the stock could close down about 1%. Again, not a very good day for AMC. It could be better. The RSI is sitting at 28.73, and heading into a very volatile week, I wanted to see a larger bounce, but that may actually come later in the week. We're going to go over what is going to be happening in our markets tomorrow and what is going on today with AMC stock. You could see a larger rally throughout this week, and that's coming to be my expectation. So let's get into it. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So AMC stock, like I said, is down about 1% at the time of recording this video. You hit a high of $4, about 81 cents today. Now, typically when you do see days like this, where you rally right off the start, you're up, let's say 4 or 5%, and then you come down, you can see larger moves over the following days. Now, here on the day today, there was no rhyme or reason why AMC stock did start to perform well in the beginning of the trading day. Now, a couple things we could point to is obviously 10-year treasury yields down about 4.5 basis points here on the day today. And you are seeing a broad kind of market rally, especially in your small and mid cap names. Some names not doing that great. If you look at something like a Tesla that reports earnings later in this week, Tesla is down about 1.26%. So definitely AMC being, which is now almost positive, definitely a bit of an outperformance. Now, any good news or any broader market rally can be really good news for AMC. And it appears like the 2024 movie lineup is starting to improve a little bit, and that should also be good news for AMC, hopefully drive more money into AMC stock. Now, the simple fact of the matter is AMC is set up and priced in for a way that is not going to be good, right? The markets are pricing in just very bad things coming for AMC, potentially bad earnings, more dilution. The longer it takes before we get more dilution, and the longer we avoid more dilution, the better AMC stock is likely to be. Now, we do have some data coming out tomorrow. The bulk of the data is going to be coming out for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but specifically Thursday and Friday. Now, any good news coming with this data this week is, again, going to be very good news for AMC specifically. Now, for tomorrow, you are going to be getting Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index. You're expecting this at -15. Last month was -11, so you're expecting that to get worse here. And Richmond Fed Manufacturing Shipments is expected to be -20. Last month was -17. And then Richmond Fed Services Index at -5. Not expecting this to be that important, but what you are starting to see, as I mentioned in the last video, is probably some of those tax loss harvesters that are coming back and able to buy back the stock that they tax loss harvested. So I think AMC was clearly a stock people took some tax loss harvest on, right? If a fund was long in AMC, they probably sold the stock towards the end of 2023. We've seen a lot of selling pressure in AMC, and then even in the beginning of 2024, you're likely starting to see some people potentially buying back shares of AMC. Now, normally when AMC does get this oversold, you tend to get some pretty extreme bounces. The last one we seen was back here after the reverse split. AMC stock went from about $6.80 per share up to a high of about $11 and some change, $11.70 or so. And you rallied, that was about 61%. But normally throughout, the past, every time you get oversold, it tends to be a buying opportunity. Now, this time around, it's not being seen as a buying opportunity as of right now necessarily, or it hasn't been. We've been oversold for a while because that is due to fears of dilution. Now, I personally think we could this week get an announcement that AMC will not be diluting shareholders. And theoretically, if that were to happen, that would be very good news for AMC. I think AMC stock would be up 20 or 30% alone on that announcement. Now, Adam Aron on his X account has been very eerily quiet recently, right? He's just he hasn't made a post since January 13th. And if I were to say, this is probably setting us up for some good news. Now, that's purely speculation on my part. Who knows exactly what is ultimately going to happen. But the way that AMC stock has started to bounce recently, up about 15% from the lows we just seen a couple of days ago, I do think an announcement is in store for, you guessed it, no more dilution. Now, does that come this week? Maybe. Does it come next week? Maybe. Does it come June, right? Do we get a commitment from June until the end of the year that we won't see dilution? I don't know. Who knows? There's a lot of possibilities here. But I do think AMC is set up in a purely risk to reward kind of standpoint as favorable. Right, buying AMC stock at $4 per share when the stock used to trade at even $11 per share a month ago. Well, the risk to reward buying the stock at $4 makes a lot of sense, or where we used to trade in the 50s just, a couple months ago as well, 6 months ago or so. So I think you are set up in an optimal position, especially if you do see small cap stocks start to outperform. Now, Tom Lee with Fundstrat believes small cap stocks will rally 50 to 60% in 2024. That would be your IWM ETF. If that were to happen, AMC stock is going to go up way more than that. And again, when you look at that, the backdrop of more cash likely coming into our markets, and AMC stock, the way the place that it is, down 80-90%, plus like 98% from all-time highs, you are set up in a very favorable position. Now, another reason why I think AMC stock potentially continues to bounce this week is some of these stock twits gauges that we are seeing here on the day today. Right now, you are bullish on the overall sentiment gauge. Yesterday, or over this weekend, I should say, you were extremely bullish at 92, but 68 is still pretty dang good considering the stock is slightly negative today. Message volume is also starting to increase, but it's still pretty low. So in a perfect world, you would rather see message volume low and then get higher and start to rally based on that. You wouldn't rather see, high message volume, bullish sentiment when the stock is very red, right? Because you want to see people start to talk about AMC more, start to position more in AMC as the stock does get better and better. And that is what we are seeing. Now, one thing that is very interesting in particular is the participation ratio. So this is the measures, or it measures the number of unique accounts posting on a stream relative to the number of total messages on that stream. So what this means is you're seeing more people talking about AMC and less of the same people just, making multiple different messages or multiple different posts. So I think that is pretty interesting. Now, this article, unfortunately, I cannot read it because I am not a subscriber to Seeking Alpha. It says AMC Entertainment better 2024 movie slate gives hope. So that's kind of what they're drawing the conclusion for why AMC is a little bit more bullish now. And even on a fundamental kind of valuation, the market cap's less than $1 billion. AMC is going to bring in probably around $1.2 billion of revenue for the last quarter. That means the stock is, probably at fair value or even undervalued at this current moment in time. And again, this is more so specific to AMC, what we're talking about. But if you do start to see a broader kind of rally in your small cap stocks, that's also going to be a tailwind for AMC stock to also do well. Now, here on the day today, you are seeing broad market participation. The percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average is up 7% to 66.19%. Now, I will tell you a little bit of cause for concern is the fact the SPY is trading at all-time highs today heading into earnings season. That just is not set up in an optimal way. Because if the broader markets do fall, well, AMC is going to have a very hard time doing well in and of itself, even if small cap stocks do ultimately rally. Now, coming tomorrow, we will have quite a few important earnings. Pre-market, you will have Verizon, 3M, GE, RTX, Johnson & Johnson, Halliburton, Lockheed Martin, P&G, DR Horton, and Packer. Now, you want to think certain sectors here in regards to these earnings, like healthcare, defense stocks. Those are going to be the ones that move quite a bit following tomorrow's earnings. Now, in after hours, your big dog reports, and that is Netflix. So Netflix is going to move the broader markets. And if Netflix has bad earnings, well, that's not going to be great. It's not going to be a great leading indicator for the rest of big tech and earnings season that really gets into full steam ahead coming next week with all of your Magnificent Seven names that will be reporting earnings. Your Apple, Amazon, Google, those names. Nvidia will report later in this earnings season, so I don't think they matter all too much in the grand scope of things as far as moving our markets. But Netflix tomorrow definitely will move our markets, and then Tesla on Wednesday and after hours will move our markets. I'm pretty dang bullish on Tesla earnings considering Tesla has fallen so much, and I'm relatively bullish on Netflix earnings as well. As long as they have good earnings, good numbers, the stocks do not plummet, then I think the broader markets will rally, and that will also help send AMC stock up higher as well. So I think just on a risk to reward proposition with AMC, potentially tax loss harvesters coming back in to buy the stocks that they harvested, and the prospect of maybe Netflix and Tesla having better earnings than expected can give you a rally in this week. Now, who knows how large that rally could be? If we start to see more option activity taking place in AMC, you could see a larger rally, that's for sure. But at the time of recording this video, you do have about 19,000 calls currently in the money for this Friday, about 40,000 calls out the money for this Friday. In the money puts at 14,000, out the money puts at 29,000. So a decent amount of option activity, especially calls in the money, 18,000, quite a bit. That's going to be about 1.8 million shares that market makers would have to buy if AMC stays here by the end of this week. At the $5 call for this week, you do have about 12,000 for open interest. So if you get above $5 per share, that's going to be a big level. And I think that does bring more buyers back into the stock. Now, the other big story of this week is going to be the economic data. That's a true wild card, but I think at this point it could be a little bit better than expected than coming, Thursday and Friday. Thursday's data is going to be durable goods orders month over month. Expectations pretty low for 1%, considering last month was 5.4%. And the GDP growth rate is expected at 2%. The Atlanta Fed GDP Now tracker is estimating GDP at 2.4%. So that could be a little bit on the low side as well. I think anything even remotely close to those positive numbers is probably going to be seen as a good thing for our markets, and likely a good thing for small cap stocks. Markets right now have been selling off small cap stocks, likely because of tax loss harvesting, like we just mentioned. But also, if we do start to go into a recession, well, that's the last place you would want to be, is your small cap stocks, right? So that's why markets have been selling them off. Now, taking a look here at the Ortex data, you do have 9.46% short interest of free float, $106.85 million worth of short positions. Days to cover 1.24, 23.69 million shares currently sold short. Shares out on loan 19.31 million, cost to borrow 1.05%, utilization of 33.42%, and a short score of 56.07 out of 100. So some decent numbers here, but nothing too crazy. Hedge funds and institutions have put about 3 trades on AMC stock here at the time of recording this video, totaling $711,000 with a positive order value of 5%. Volume today to the call side of about 69%, volume to the put side of 31%. So overall, looking strong. If I were to weigh, the risk to reward of what's going to happen this week for AMC, I would imagine it's probably going to be a pretty good week, albeit considering AMC stock is now green. Heading to the end of the day, heading into tomorrow, if you do see the RSI actually break above 30, because you're still at 29.78. That could bring more momentum traders back into the stock as well. And you could start to target, in the $6 range, potentially $7 range, maybe by the end of this week, but if not, in the near term future, in my personal opinion. So let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Do you think the risk to reward makes sense being long here on AMC stock? So thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.